Greetings from Kavita Ramchand at Life Success Coaching in Mauritius. As many people know, I always talk about the road to riches. And today I'll expand on what it is to have a rich mindset. Everything is created twice, first in our mind, and then it comes to pass in our physical reality. It is something that is so obvious, and yet most of us don't grasp this concept because it's not being taught to us. So if you, but it's like you can see it in the world. Just because very few people are living that way, we tend to think that others are doing it, we cannot. And 95% of the human population actually is believing that success is not for them, a rich lifestyle is not for them. Why? We got to really think about that. It's not a wonder that the lottery business is doing so well because everybody wants a rich lifestyle. I don't know anybody who is going to tell me, no, I don't want to earn more money. I don't want a promotion at work. Nobody comes and says, I want a demotion. In fact, when we get a demotion, we are not happy, right? So we want to understand what it is really to be rich. So if you come to think about it, let's take a look at some people who have really made it in the world. Let's take, for example, the Wright brothers. They were simple, ordinary bicycle mechanics. They didn't, they used to repair machines as in bicycles. And then they got an idea, the two brothers, let's make a machine that could fly. And their father, who was a bishop in a church at that time, told them, you boys will go to hell for even thinking like that. Because if God wanted humans to fly, God would have given us wings. I mean, thank God they didn't listen to their dad, you know, because otherwise today we would not have had the aviation industry. And it's something we take so much for granted. We travel. I sat in a plane for the first time when I was 5 years old. I never questioned where did this plane come from. We travel all over the world. People are traveling all over the world now, and yet we never sit and reflect on these ideas as to who invented these planes. How did they get the idea, you know, to create such a machine? Now let's forget the airplane. We've already gone to the moon. Rockets have been made. Uh, so many things have been built by human beings. And you know what? There's no difference between the Wright brothers and everybody else's mind because there is only one mind, and the mind works exactly the same way for everyone. Everyone. There was another person called Thomas Edison. He gave the world the incandescent light, the bulb. We didn't have electricity at one time. We only had, people used to use candles. Imagine living like, I was not born in that era, so I cannot really relate to that. But I cannot think of a world where there's no electricity. And yet, we don't think about how these things came about. We use them and we never think about the source, right, of its creation. So, if this is what I'm trying to get at, that everything is created twice. It was first created as an idea in someone's mind, and then it came to become a reality in the physical world. And we want to understand that prosperity is exactly like that. All of us can be healthy, wealthy, and have very upbeat relationships with everyone, and so we can be very happy, because at the end of the day, what everyone is looking for is freedom and happiness. We all want to be happy, and we need to be free to feel that happiness. Actually, freedom is what everybody is seeking, not because they want freedom, but because they want to be happy. Everyone wants happiness. Sometimes, not sometimes, very often I mention that if we want to understand life, we just need to look at children. They are the ones who are really, really in tune with how life is meant to be lived. So now let's go a little further. The fact that we have a mind is actually huge because it's the greatest gift that has been bestowed to us by our Creator. We are spiritual beings, we are living in a physical body, and we have a mind. Now, our mind can actually take us to the peaks of success or down to disintegration, depending on how we are using our mind. And how will we know where we are right now in our life, how we've been using our mind? We just need to look at the results in our physical reality. Are we happy? Are we living the rich lifestyle? And when I say rich, I don't mean just money. Money is an important tool that we are blessed with, not because of some kind of, how do I say this? Some kind of God who's just giving it to some and not giving it to others. There's no such thing. It all depends on how you're using your mind. If a person has a mindset of lack and limitation, you know, that's exactly what the person is going to produce as his results in his life. And nobody wants to live that way. But then there are many people today who are trying to make it big in life, who are trying to live a more prosperous life, a richer life, but they are so stuck for the simple reason that this has not been taught to any one of us. School doesn't teach us how to earn more money. I started earning money because I was in a business. Business is it's something that I never used to enjoy before, but when I saw the potential of helping people through my business, I started to like the idea of having a business, of selling. And this is where we need to understand that your prosperity doesn't depend on your outside results at all. At all. We all have total meritocracy on the way we use our mind. What is our consciousness like? Are we feeling abundant? And maybe there was a time when you used to feel abundant and now you're not feeling it anymore. And you want to ask yourself what happened? You know, what happened that you are not attracting money anymore in your life? And I will tell you the cause that I have found is because of the limited mindset that is developed over time. If we feel we don't have enough, we will never see that in our results. If you're always afraid, for example, of spending money because you feel that the source is going to finish, that the supply is going to finish, let me tell you that there is a law that governs the supply of everything in the world. It doesn't come from your job, it doesn't come from your spouse, it doesn't come from your children. The source of supply comes from the spiritual world. And because we all believe that there is a God out there, right? If you don't believe, then it's good because your mind is open and you can suspend this belief right now if you want to, and just for some time try to think that what if what she's saying is true? What if that I am actually born with a marvelous mind that can help me attract whatever I want in my life? Now, I was always an unconscious competent to the law of attraction. Means I was attracting everything I wanted. I must say I had the grace of the Lord, or I'm blessed. But I was also attracting things that I didn't want to attract. And I didn't know how I was doing that until I discovered how the law of attraction works. And from that point on, I was very mindful not to think about things I do not want because I knew that I would manifest them. But then it so happened that I manifested the death of my younger brother, and that really broke my heart. I wanted to know why I attracted that. And you may say, but no, how can you say that? Well, I am saying that because I have discovered that it is true. And how I had attracted it is because of subconscious beliefs that have been passed down from my grandparents during the war of Indo Pakistan. And my mother was just a baby. So, if you understand how the mind works, when you are a small child, you absorb everything that's happening around you. That's how we learn how to speak our language. And my mother did not know anything about her programming because she grew up in India after that. But you know, these wars, World War I, World War II, we are living in the richest era that has ever existed in humanity, and yet people are fighting wars. Do we even realize the impact that this has over humanity in general? You know, the amount of worries that have gone into people, worries and fears that have gone into the subconscious mind of our grandparents or great grandparents, they've just filtered down to us. And what are we doing as parents? We are sending it to our children, totally oblivious to the fact that we are passing our fears and our worries and our doubts to them. I find that to be very, very dangerous, that I didn't know that. And the day I came to understand how we are passing our subconscious beliefs down the generations, I made a decision to stop it because I reached a point where I could see that my sadness due to the death of my brother was being reflected in my children. Everybody around me was sad because I was sad. Basically, it was not that they were sad, it was, everything you see outside is telling you something that is in your consciousness. So if you are feeling sad, you can only share sad vibrations around you, and everybody around you is going to feel sad. And if you're feeling happy, you are going to share that happiness with everybody around you. I made a decision to find my happiness back after 7 years of feeling so sad and depressed. And I cannot tell you how my life transformed thanks to my education that I invested in to find my happiness back. Imagine at the age of 40, I had to find my happiness back. And when it came in avalanches. Life is meant to be upbeat, prosperous. We are all meant to live a rich life, healthy, happy, wealthy, enjoy peace of mind at all times. If we don't have, I reached a point in life when I had everything. I mean, I didn't have everything except for money. So you wouldn't call me rich, right? That's not a rich consciousness. That's not a prosperity consciousness. And I'll tell you something else that's not a prosperity consciousness. You may have money, assets. You may have. But if you're just keeping it in the bank and never using it, never keeping it in circulation, then you will never see more of it. It's just like you've taken a breath and you're holding on to your breath and you're not willing to release it because you think that you have to save for a rainy day, and you're saving everything. It's going to find its way out. So to have a prosperity consciousness now, what we need to understand is we need to have a system. Success is just a system, a system of understanding how life actually happens. It's happening for our benefit. But we need to understand that everything that is happening in our outer reality, our outer physical reality, is basically helping us understand what type of consciousness we are holding within ourselves. And all we need to do is shift our consciousness to that of prosperity. Once you change the inside world, your outside world will just change automatically. It's a mirror reflection of what's going on inside. And that's not an easy idea to grasp because it was not easy for me to accept that I was creating my own reality, that I was, and I didn't know I was. I don't have a rag to riches story. I was born in riches. I was born always well provided for. So I'm very thankful for the prosperity consciousness that I always had. But then it came to a point when I realized that so many people don't have that, have not understood that. And I had to get out of my comfort zone because my life was very comfortable to bring this knowledge to the world. And why I'm doing this also is for the sake of every child that is not aware that they are being programmed by their parents. And the parents are not aware that they have been programmed by their parents, and it's just filtering down to our children. I was the same. I was passing down, though I have a prosperity consciousness, my children are born in prosperity consciousness, but I was passing down beliefs to them of sadness, of feeling low. Once you understand how this universe works, once you understand that how your thoughts are so powerful, that they are helping you create your results. So you just need to take a look at your results and ask yourself, are these the results that I want, or do I want better? And we can all have better results. The only question is, when will you start to think differently? When will you start to think from the inside to the outside? Because everything is first created in your marvelous mind and then it manifests into your reality. And if anybody comes and tells me, there are two things that people tend to do, and I will tell you both of them. Number one is when expenses go high, or when expenses go high, because everything you see in the economy, in the world is going up, prices are going up, people tend to cut on their expenses, and that is not in harmony with God's laws. And that's something that I learned when I was very young, that when your expenses increase, supersize your faith and courage and increase your income also, because you can. And there's another thing we tend to do, and I was that one. When expenses go high, we tend to work harder. So I just told you, supersize your faith and courage to increase your income, which I believed in. But what was I doing to raise my income? I was working harder than ever. And that depletes your energy eventually. It depletes your health, because until you don't shift the consciousness, you can work as hard as you want. The results are not going to change. Even if they change, they will just be for a short period of time, and then they'll come back to where they were. Because everything is based, your results are based on your consciousness, on how you think, feel about everything in life. I could also call it your attitude towards life, to simplify what is consciousness, you know. And a lot of people think that, okay, let's just start thinking positive. Yes, it starts with that. But again, it's very easy to think positive when things are very good in our life. That's where I was. But when I had to think positive when everything was sad around me, that was a challenge. And that challenge came not to um, hurt me in any way. I realized that challenges come in our life for our benefit, because it's a time to learn what faith is all about. You know, we tend to think faith is like God is going to come from somewhere and help us. God says, I've given you a marvelous mind, but I cannot use it for you. You can use it for yourself. And how you're going to use it, I'm just going to match. You use it to think sad thoughts, you are going to have a sad life. You think of happy thoughts, you're going to have a happy life. But it's a process. It's a process, especially when you are faced with adversity. So, everything in our life is controlled by laws. And if we don't understand how the laws are really governing our being, we are going to go through life on a hit and miss basis. But you can take control of your life and design it exactly the way you would like it to be. So I leave you with this idea that you can be, do, have, and give anything you want in your life. But first, you have to learn about your mind. You have to understand that you have a very, very powerful mind. And the way you're going to use it is going to determine what you're going to attract in your life. So have a wonderful day, and know that you can live a very, very rich, or you can call it a prosperous life, whichever word resonates with you. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye bye.